today's topic is back of thigh. So back of thigh is posterior or flexor component of thigh. It extends from this gluteal fold up to this popliteal fossa. You see this dotted line, it is the back of thigh. So content of this back of thigh, there is a hamstring muscles, sciatic nerve, posterior femoral, cutaneous nerve, a chain of vascular anastomosis at the back of thigh. Cutaneous innervation, mainly it is supplied by these branches from the posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. It supplies the skin up to the middle of the back of thigh. You see these are the cutaneous nerve. Here there is a gluteal fold. Laterally it is supplied by these branches of this lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. Medially it is supplied by the cutaneous branch of this obturator nerve. Medial branch of this anterior compartment of cutaneous nerve and posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. These are the cutaneous innervation of the back of thigh. So posterior perforated cutaneous nerve supply this gluteal region, and from cutaneous branch of this obturator nerve supply at the medial side of this thigh. Middle side there is a posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh, and laterally there is a branches from the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. Below it supplied by this medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. So what is the importance of this cutaneous nerve? So first there is a posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. It passes vertically downward along the middle line of the back of thigh beneath the deep fascia and superficial to the long head of bicep femoris. After piercing the popliteal fascia, it becomes cutaneous and extends to the upper part of the back of leg. You see these are these cutaneous nerve innervation by the spaces of the skin is supplied. Laterally there is a lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. Middle there is a posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. Here there is supplied the obturator nerve. This area is supplied by this medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. So these are these cutaneous innervation. So these are this gluteal region. Here there is a maximum muscles are these gluteus maximus muscles. If there is a gluteus medius and minimus muscles. Deep to this gluteus maximus muscles, it all muscle is arise from the ischial tuberosity. Name is given this back of thigh muscles or the hamstring muscles. So hamstring muscle it including the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, long head of bicep femoris, ischial head of this adductor magnus. You see these are the deep to this gluteus maximus muscle. Below the gluteal region there is a back of thigh muscle or the flexor component of this muscles. Name is given this hamstring muscles. Why name is given this hamstring muscles? Because it has a common criteria. They all are these arise from this ischial tuberosity. So ischial tuberosity is at the common origin of these hamstring muscles. Most superolaterally, superomedially, inferiolaterally, and inferiomedially. Superolaterally there is origin of this semimembranosus. Superomedially there is origin of this semitendinosus and long head of this bicep femoris. Ischial head and adductor magnus arise from this inferiolaterally. An area of these are the fibrofatty tissue. So these are the common origin of this hamstring compartment. You see this diagram, here this one are the ischial tuberosity, and here there is insertion of this hamstring muscle, either one of this leg. First muscle at the long head of this bicep femoris arise from this ischial tuberosity, and short head of this bicep femoris is arise from this linea aspera. So short head of this bicep femoris it is not including in these hamstring muscles, because common criteria of this hamstring muscle they all are arise from this ischial tuberosity and insertion into this either tibia or fibula below the knee joint. So here there is a one muscles semitendinosus. It arises from this ischial tuberosity and insertion into this semimembranosus and the tibial tuberosity. Adductor magnus arises from the ischial tuberosity. Only this ischial or the hamstring part of this adductor magnus, and it insertion into the adductor tubercle, and it convert into this ligament. Name is given this tibial collateral ligament. So this tibial collateral ligament it is nothing but degenerative part of this adductor magnus muscle. Laterally, bicep femoris is inserted at this head of this fibula. It has a two head, short head and long head. Short head is arise from this linea aspera and long head is arise from this ischial tuberosity. Now, common origin of the ischial tuberosity insertion beyond the knee joint is supplied by this tibial division of the sciatic nerve. These are the character features of these hamstring muscles. They all are arise from ischial tuberosity, insertion beyond the knee joint, supplied by tibial division of the sciatic nerve. So these are the common character features. Now first muscles are semitendinosus. So semitendinosus arise from this ischial tuberosity and insertion into this just behind this sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus at the medial surface of this tibia medially, just below this medial condyle of this tibia. Behind this sartorius, gracilis, there is insertion of this semitendinosus and origin into this ischial tuberosity. So these first muscle are semitendinosus. Why it is called semitendinosus? Because it is tendinous insertion. So second muscles are this semimembranosus. So semimembranosus also arise from this ischial tuberosity and insertion into this medial condyle of this tibia. Third muscles are this bicep femoris. It has a two head, long head and short head. Long head is arise from this ischial tuberosity. Short head is arise from this linea aspera. So common insertion at the head of this fibula. Just laterally, fibula is laterally bone and tibia is medial side of this bone. So medially there is insertion of this semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Laterally insertion of this long head of this bicep femoris. Now semimembranosus, it arises from the ischial tuberosity, insertion into this medial epicondyle just behind this medial condyle of this tibia. Here there is insertion of this semimembranosus. It insertion into this either by this oblique popliteal ligament. So insertion into this three type of insertion. One horizontal groove on this posterior aspect of this medial condyle. Here it convert into this ligament just between this knee joint between this oblique popliteal ligament, and here there is a deep fascia. It convert into the deep fascia. It covered by these popliteus muscles. So origin of this semimembranosus upper lateral part of this upper quadrilateral area of this tuberosity and insertion into this medial condyle of this tibia. You see, these are the insertion of the semimembranosus on the back of the medial condyle of this tibia and its extension. First, it insertion into this semimembranosus tendon. Later, it cannot into this oblique popliteal ligament. One slip it forming the deep fascia of this leg, and other there is a fascia covering the popliteal muscles. So these are the insertion of the semimembranosus muscle. It divide into these three type of this insertion: tendinous insertion, tendon into this medial condyle of this tibia, oblique popliteal ligament, fascia covering the popliteal muscles, and the fascia of this leg. So these are this modification of this insertion of this semimembranosus muscles. Now you see this semimembranosus, semitendinosus, it lies from this medial side and insertion into this tibia. So medial lies on this bone just below the knee joint. And bicep femoris insertion into this lateral side of this bone at the fibula, at the head of fibula. So it makes a boundary of this popliteal fossa. So medial boundary it is formed by this semimembranosus, semitendinosus. Lateral boundary it is formed by this bicep femoris. So they all are arise from this ischial tuberosity except sorted of this bicep femoris. It only arises from this linea aspera. The bicep femoris it has two head. One is it is the long head, another it is the short head. So origin of this long head at this ischial tuberosity and origin of this short head on the linea aspera. So both are the common insertion at this laterally head of this fibula. Name is given this bicep femoris. Adductor magnus, ischial part of this hamstring part. So adductor magnus has a two compartment. It present in medial side of this thigh, also in hamstring compartment. So adductor part, it forms this medial side of this thigh and hamstring part from the back of thigh. It extends the thigh with the other hamstring muscles, tibial part of the sciatic nerve supply. You see this diagram here, there is a adductor magnus muscles. It arises from this ischial tuberosity at the hamstring part and arises from this adductor magnus also arises from the obturator foramen. These are the adductor compartment of these muscles or the medial compartment of this muscle. The insertion at this adductor tubercle. Now, action of these hamstring muscles, they act as a prime mover of the flexion of knee joint and help extension of the hip joint in the standing and walking. In semiflex knee, act as a medial rotator. Semimembranosus, semitendinosus. They are the act as a medial rotator because उसका insertion कहाँ पे है? Medial side of this bone are the tibia. Bicep femori act as a lateral rotator of the tibia on femur because उसका insertion कहाँ पे है? Femur, fibula. Fibula it lies in lateral side of this leg bone. So you see these hamstring muscles की action, they are the extension of this hip joint and flexion of this knee joint because they all are these arise from this ischial tuberosity. So it make a extension at the hip joint, but it insertion just below this knee joint, so it act as a flexion of knee joint. So these action are the hamstring muscles. Second action, toe touching action. Restriction of range of movement of hip flexion, knee is extended. So this one knee is extended and there is a flexion of hip joint. These are the action of toe touching action of the hamstring muscles. So clinical correlation, if hamstring muscles are paralyzed, the patient tend to fall forward because the gluteal maximus muscles cannot maintain the necessary tone to stand upright position. Because maximum का एक्शन क्या है? They are the chief extensor of this hip joint. If there is a chief extensor of the hip joint, it is not it is paralysis. So hamstring muscles are paralyzed. The patient tend to fall forward because the gluteal maximus muscles cannot maintain the necessary tone. So content of this back of this thigh are the major nerve, name is given the sciatic nerve. So sciatic nerve introduction, it is largest branch of the sacral plexus. It arises origin and root value. It arises from this sacral plexus S1, S2, S3, S4, S4 and S5 course. It arises from this pelvic region, gluteal region at the back of thigh, and relation in pelvic and gluteal region and in thigh region. Arterial supply, arterial nervi ischiatia, it is the branch of this inferior gluteal artery. It supplies the sciatic nerve itself. So branches of the sciatic nerve, there is two terminal branch, common peroneal nerve and tibial nerve. Applied anatomy or the clinical anatomy, there is slipping foot, sciatica, sciatic nerve injury, and care in above knee amputation. So it has these one are the introduction of the sciatic nerve. First, the origin and root value. You see this L4, L5, S1, S2 and S3 उन सब में से लंबो sacral plexus में से डेवलप हो रही origin हो रही है sciatic nerve. So medial side tibial nerve of the danger and lateral side common peroneal nerve of safety. So medially there is a tibial nerve and lateral one there is a common peroneal nerve. These are the origin and root value of the sciatic nerve. L4, L5, S1, S2 and S3 are the root value of the sciatic nerve. You see this diagram, there is a first point and second point are indication of this line demarcation of the sciatic nerve. At the pelvic region and gluteal region, this one are the gluteal region, first point to second point, and third point just above this gluteal fossa are the back of thigh region. So maximum inclination of the sciatic nerve is at the back of thigh region. So anterior superior leg spine line joining the anterior superior leg spine and IT means tibial in ischial tuberosity. So ischial tuberosity and anterior superior leg spine. The first, second line joining the anterior superior leg spine and ischial tuberosity, and third one there is a ischial tuberosity and first point and second point in between this greater trochanter of this femur. This one at the greater trochanter of this femur. So this triangle, there is formation of this inclination of this sciatic nerve. The course and relation of the sciatic nerve, you see this below this piriformis, it enter into this gluteal region, deep to this gluteus maximus muscle, and at the lower part of this gluteus maximus muscle, it enter into this back of thigh. So pelvic region, front of the piriformis under cover of its fascia. Gluteal region entered through the greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis. In the thigh, it entered the back of thigh at the lower border of maximum. Run vertically downward up to the popliteal fossa. The course in the pelvic region, it lies in piriformis under the cover of its fascia. You see this one are the key muscle of this gluteal region. Below the lower border of this piriformis, it enter into the gluteal region. This one are the sciatic nerve. So enter the gluteal region through the greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis. You see this diagram, course in gluteal region and enter the gluteal region below the piriformis. Superficial relation of the sciatic nerve. Deep to this gluteus maximus muscles, it is mostly protected the sciatic nerve because of this thickest muscle of this gluteal region. Lower border of this gluteus maximus muscles and the bicep femoris, long head of this bicep femoris. In between this region make the nerve prone to the damage. So here maximum chances of the sciatic nerve is damaged at the gunshot injury because it is not covered by any muscles. So the gluteal region at the back of thigh vulnerable to the sciatic nerve injury. This region now prone to the damage in between this gluteus maximus muscles and long head of this bicep femoris muscles. Now posterior relation of the sciatic nerve. So this point arrow is indicate the vulnerable point lead to the slipping foot because here there is a maximum chances to attach the sciatic nerve along with this ischial tuberosity. So it is the hard bone and during this long sitting posture, the sciatic nerve there may be chances to damage. So it may lead to the slipping foot. So bed of the sciatic nerve, first there is a body of the ischial tuberosity, then obturator internals with superior and inferior gemelli. Third one there is a quadratus femoris. Fourth one there is adductor magnus and sciatic nerve proper. So terminal part of the sciatic nerve is divided into these two branches, tibial nerve and common parallel nerve. So these are this posterior relation of the sciatic nerve. So there is some variation to sciatic nerve to piriformis muscle. You see this 88% of this variation sciatic nerve passes below this piriformis muscle. Here 0.30% sciatic nerve is passes between one is above between this piriformis muscle and 0.86% sciatic nerve passes above the piriformis muscles. Here 13.13% sciatic nerve passes between these two root of these piriformis muscles. The variation in the mode of exit of the sciatic nerve from pelvis. So these are the variation. You see this sciatic nerve is divided into these two regions, two branches, tibial nerve and common parallel nerve. Tibial nerve passes below this piriformis, sometimes common parallel nerve passes within these piriformis muscles. Here you can see this variation common parallel nerve passes just above the piriformis, tibial nerve passes just below the piriformis muscles. So back of thigh, maximum relation of the sciatic nerve below inferior border of this gluteus maximus, lateral to this bicep femoris muscles, and at the apex of this popliteal fossa divided into this tibial and common peroneal nerve. Relation in the thigh. Deep to the long head of bicep femoris rest on the adductor magnus, medially and semimembranosus and semitendineous muscles. Posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. Lower part laterally bicep femoris. Muscular branch to hamstring arise from the medial side of nerve except short head of bicep femoris. Summary of these branches of sciatic nerve. So root value and beginnings from this L4, L5, S1, S2 and S3. It divides into these two parts, common peroneal and tibial part. Tibial part is lies medially, common peroneal lies laterally. Tibial part it supplies this semitendinosus, semimembranosus, bicep femoris, adductor magnus muscles. These are the hamstring muscles. Another tibial part of the sciatic nerve is supply this posterior compartment of these leg muscles. At the back of leg, it supplies this tibial nerve. Example: gastrocnemius muscles, popliteus muscles, plantaris, soleus, tibialis, posterior muscles, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus. They all are these muscles are present at the back of leg muscle or the posterior compartment of leg. We supply this tibial part of this sciatic nerve. At the sole of this foot, it divides into this medial and lateral plantar nerve. So medial plantar nerve supply these muscles of this great toe and lateral plantar nerve supply the muscles of this little toe. The common peroneal part of the sciatic nerve, it supply this bicep femoris muscles, and here at the lateral side of this leg, it divide into this superficial peroneal nerve and deep peroneal nerve. Superficial peroneal nerve supply this lateral compartment of this leg muscles, peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. And deep peroneal nerve, it supply this anterior compartment of leg muscles. Example: tibialis anterior muscles, extensor digitorum longus, extensor hallucis longus and peroneus tertius. So already see this sciatic nerve you can do in the dissection. So branches of the back of thigh, motor branch to the hamstring muscles, to short head of bicep femoris, convey the fiber from this common peroneal part, articular branch to the hip and knee joint, two terminal branch, there is a peroneal and tibial part. So tibial part it at this back of leg muscles and peroneal compartment further divide into this superficial and deep peroneal nerve. You see this twing of this tibial part, it supplies the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, longer of this bicep femoris, adductor magnus, the hamstring part, and short head of this bicep femoris, it supplies the tibial part of this sciatic nerve. So these are the common criteria of this hamstring compartment. In the popliteal fossa, tibial nerve, common peroneal nerve, these are the two terminal branch of this sciatic nerve. You see this one are the popliteal fossa. Laterally there is a bicep femoris. Medially there is a semitendinosus, semimembranosus. Infero-medially and infero-laterally there is a two head of this gastrocnemius. Medially medial head of this gastrocnemius. Laterally lateral head of this gastrocnemius. So this one are this terminal division of this sciatic nerve, common peroneal nerve and tibial one. The quadrant for the intramuscular injection. You see this already done in glutealism. These are the safe site for this intramuscular injection at the gluteus minimus muscles, medius muscles. And this quadrant, because sciatic nerve is vulnerable to, it is not damaged if it is the safe site for this intramuscular injection. If you can give this intramuscular injection at this site, there may be chances to damage the sciatic nerve. So sciatic nerve maybe injury is complete. All the muscles below the knee are paralyzed associated with foot drop and cutaneous sensation. Below the knee are lost except areas supplied by the saphenous nerve. Disc prolapse, neuritis, dislocation of this hip joint. These are the apparent anatomy of this sciatic nerve. So maximum chances to damage the sciatic nerve if there is a hip joint or dislocation. So dislocation of this hip joint, there is chances to damage the sciatic nerve. Another chances to damage the sciatic nerve, there is a disc prolapse. Either intervertebral disc, it damages the sciatic nerve. It may lead to this pain from sciatica radiate from this buttocks down and leg and can travel as far as the feet and the toes. So these are the applied anatomy of the sciatic nerve for sleeping foot. Shooting pain known as the sciatica by the prolapse of the intervertebral disc and the foot drop. Why it is foot drop? Because there is a common peroneal nerve and deep peroneal nerve are damaged. May lead to this dorsiflexion is unable and it may lead and name is given this foot drop. Because of this anterior compartment of this leg is supplied by this common peroneal nerve. So left sciatic nerve palsy, here muscular wasting of this knee joint. These are the damaged the sciatic nerve. Second one, tibial nerve palsy due to the leprosy, toe loss, and ulceration of the sole due to the loss of the sensation. Foot drops due to the nerve palsy. This also name is given this pupilar nerve palsy or the foot drop. The peroneal nerve is mostly damaged. In case of this paralysis of this dorsiflexion. So sleeping foot after sitting for a long time, compression of the nerve against the femur, it may lead to this sleeping foot. Sciatica, it is nothing but there is a shooting pain along the cutaneous distribution of this common peroneal nerve caused by the osteoarthritis, lumbar disc prolapse, fibrositis, neuritis, sciatic nerve injury. It may lead to these foot drops. SLR name is given this straight leg rising test. In this condition, straight leg rising test are positive if the sciatic nerve is damaged. Straightened leg is flexed at the hip. Further stretching is done by the dorsiflexion at the ankle and person feel pain on stretching of nerve. This diagram you can see this SLR test. So SLR test is diagnosed by the if damage the sciatic nerve or not. So arterial anastomosis on the back of thigh, it mainly branch of this perforating branch of this profunda femoris artery. You already know about this common iliac artery. Here it is internal iliac artery. This one are the external iliac artery. So common iliac artery. Further, it is branch of this terminal branch of this abdominal aorta. It divided into this external iliac and internal iliac artery. External iliac artery just below this inguinal ligament. It continues as a femoral artery. So femoral artery here it gives largest branch. Name is given this profunda femoris artery. Another branch name is given this lateral circumflex femoral artery, medial circumflex femoral artery. This one are this profunda femoris artery. It gives this first, second, third, and fourth perforating branches. And this one are this femoral artery. It continues as a popliteal artery from this hiatus magnus, the opening of this adductor magnus muscles. In superior muscular branch of this popliteal artery, it anastomos with this fourth perforating branch of this profunda femoris artery. So longitudinal artery anastomosis provide a collateral channel. So this major branch blood supply or artery supply of this back of thigh. Thank you. Thank you.